Hello, everyone, and welcome to your Narsa weekly update for the week commencing Monday, the 8th of May, 2023. It's Gary here again, and well, I hope that you're all enjoying kind of feeling like if I could say, like a regular football fan where you just kind of tune in to meaningless games. And I hope you're enjoying that as much as I am, which is absolutely not at all. Man, this is a real sobering end to the season for us. It was kind of, I knew that this was coming, obviously, if we didn't actually get any success in the semi final of the Scottish Cup, which we didn't. But, showing up for games, not that many people showed up for the game on Saturday, and I'm sure it was the same in clubs all across North America. But for nothing other than just for the love of Rangers to see the team and hopefully see something to give us a wee bit of a spark or some sort of enthusiasm to see what's coming next season for us just doesn't feel like enough. We're usually always playing for something. Imagine back to this time last year when we were just all scrambling frantically to try and figure out how to get to Seville for the European final. We had the Scottish Cup final to look forward to after just having beat Celtic, and then we were also still in with a little bit of a chance in the league. Maybe it was a wee bit out of reach as history dictated for us, but what a difference a year makes, and as I say, I don't like it at all, and we'll just have to muscle away for the next few weeks and get towards the end of the season here, and then put this one to bed and convalesce and see where it goes for next week. However, we do have a convention to look forward to over in Toronto, so we'll get to talking about that as quickly as we possibly can. On the game segment, just the one game this past week, and it was yesterday's 1-0 victory against Aberdeen. And from our side, yeah, again, just to kind of reiterate, it's very much an end of the season, nothing to play for, feel to it. Certainly from my side, from my vantage point, I'm sure it wasn't the same for the Aberdeen fans as they are desperately chasing to keep Hearts at bay for that European slot in third position there. And not that everyone in the team was strolling around or not doing anything meaningful or contributing. We just all know and feel that it's a bust. The season's a bust, and we have another 4 useless games left to see this garbage season out. We will have a bit of a say in who finishes third, I guess. We've done our bit by beating Aberdeen, but Hearts couldn't do their bit by taking any points over that mob yesterday, so they're kind of contributing to their own downfall anyway. So we'll see. We've got one big game here coming at the weekend, and then we'll kind of pack things up from there. In terms of the summary of the game, there were some changes to the team, some from choice and some via injury absences, and that meant that we did have a wee bit of variety in the game, or in the team I should say, and with the bigger of them for me being Robbie McCrory being in goals and Alan McGregor being given a complete seat and out of the squad just for a rest, I'm imagining, before this weekend's Old Firm game. And we did try to attack from the start, I thought, and it was a relatively okay first half. We did get caught out twice in the first half with Aberdeen breakaways, and thankfully Robbie McCrory stood strong and tall for both of those attacks and made a save on the first one and shut down the space for the second one to have the guy sky it over over the bar, and then that kept things level for us in the second half. I thought we started superbly well in the second half, but we didn't really look like we'd grabbed the game truly by the scruff of the neck and really put them away, which is a sign of the times. Michael Beale alluded to that after the game as well. And then on 64 minutes we scored a brilliant goal, which I got to see on replay because my sister Debbie decided to ask me a question that she immediately forgot what it was after that anyway, so I turned to say, what was that? just as we scored. Typical. But that was in the 64th minute. A corner comes over from James Tavernier and rifled a brilliant volley by the excellent, once again, Todd Cantwell, and that was brilliant, and of course that turned out to be the only goal of the game. Johnny Hayes hit the bar for us, and we also had a number of chances, but we weren't, we couldn't convert those. And I quite honestly, I didn't feel at the end of the game with 1-0, you're usually a bit apprehensive, a bit nervous. That spills into the fans and the stadium, and then that spills onto the pitch, and then we get all this nerves going at the end. But I didn't feel that we weren't exactly under the cosh at the end like we normally seem to be when we don't put these teams away. But I think probably that was because the game really meant nothing to us, and it was just a case of like, come on, hurry up and get this finished already, will you, so we can get on with the rest of our day. Positives from the game: the score, for sure. It's always good to get a win and a clean sheet. Robbie McCrory helped us with that, and he had a very assured performance in between the sticks, and that was comforting. He came out for balls and stuff like that as well, and it just looked like a Rangers goalkeeper, quite honestly, didn't he? And he's been very, very patient, waiting on his chance, and I would love to see him get a run in the team for the remainder of the season. As I alluded to a wee bit earlier, is he going to get in place of Alan McGregor for what probably will be Alan McGregor's last Old Firm game? I can't see it. Maybe he takes the second goalkeeper slot on the bench though, and McLaughlin steps down from the squad. I'm not 100% sure how that's going to go, but he certainly didn't do his chances any harm. I'm so happy for him that he got the clean sheet, and against those two blatant breakaways in the first half as well is nice. So very, very nice work, Robbie. Good, congratulations, well done, and hopefully that bodes well for the future for you and the team. Todd Cantwell continued his fine form for us and capped off with that fantastic goal. Ridvan Yilmaz also did quite well as well, and I have to say he didn't cover himself in glory in the Old Firm game last week, and I don't know. The jury goes out quite quick when we're under a wee bit of pressure and looking for players to perform very quickly, and he did well on the weekend there, so credit to him. And you know what? I'm starting to get a wee bit of affection for Rabbi Matondo. He seems to be benefiting from getting a run in the side. Very, very direct, controls the ball way better than Fashion Sakala can. And you know, wants to go forward at every single opportunity, and he is fast. You know, very, very fast as well. So, you know, just a wee bit of a nod to him, again, being patient. He was so far and out in the cold, it seemed, for such a long time. And he's coming back now. So that was excellent. And a special shout out, I think I'd like to say, for the rendition, the incredible rendition of God Save the King prior to the match starting. I should probably have started with that again, or maybe put that in the shout outs. But that was amazing. That was like hair on the back of your neck, stand up, amazing. I thought it was fantastic, and also a tip of the hat to the almost 47,000 fans who showed up at Ibrox. Michael Beale did talk about that again in his post-match press conferences as well. You know, and you know, we as fans, we would be forgiven for packing it up this season and just spending the time doing something, what could you say, less disappointing, less frustrating. But we're Rangers fans, and for the most part we don't do walking away, and that's what makes us the best fans in the business. I kind of alluded to it a wee bit earlier. We had 8 in Calgary, and that was pretty much what we're expecting. In fact, that is literally what I guessed we would get in the car on the way down to the game. I suspect we'll have a wee bit of a bigger crowd this weekend, and then we are actually shutting it down for the season in Calgary. The folks that have their RTV vouchers will just watch at home, but the early kick-off games, the midweek games and stuff like that, we're not going to get a crowd there. I don't want to go down there and stand it myself. Negatives for the game, not too many. I think we got the game we thought we would get, and the performances we kind of thought we would get from most as well. A wee bit of a negative in terms of Ben Davies having to go off injured. You know, whether you like him or hate him, you know, we do want him to be fit, and I think he would be an automatic first choice for the Old Firm game next week if he is fit to work alongside Connor Goldson. So the word that doesn't seem to be too bad in terms of the extent of the injury. So hopefully that was just more precautionary, just to get the actual word correct this time, and then we'll see. And I'm not going to be too hard on anyone else, because there's no real point now, is there? We had 71% possession, and we had 20 shots, 9 on target to their 10 shots, 5 on target. And you know, I've mentioned it a couple of times now, but by now you've probably heard Michael Beale's press conference afterwards, where he said, I sometimes think we are the most wasteful team I've seen. We miss unbelievable chances. That's what he said. And that pretty much sums up our front line this season. Tony Goals started the season like a house on fire, but then got injured and has just completely fallen away before he got injured again. Kamar Roof is fantastic when he's in the side, but just isn't fit enough to be a striker for Glasgow Rangers. And so then you're left with what you're left with, and you get what you get, you know, with Fashion Sakala, with Rabbi Matondo, with Alfredo Morelos, who Michael Beale didn't really shy away from kind of lambasting a wee bit in terms of the energy that he did not bring to the side afterwards as well. I would caution Michael Beale to just kind of zip it a wee bit and give these guys a wee bit of grace and dignity as they're leaving. They don't want not to perform, but their minds are elsewhere. I'm thinking about him and Ryan Kent specifically. And then we'll just see where it goes from there. But the records with us, they've been very, very good servants for us. So if they are genuinely leaving, then they should get an opportunity to leave with a wee bit of dignity and grace, or just sit them on the bench and give them a chance to do a kind of lap of honour after, what would that be, the second last game, the Hearts game, and then pull the curtain down on their current tenure with Rangers. I guess you never know what might happen in the future, eh? On the referee watch, John Beaton, I think he did okay in this one. He didn't get too involved overall. The only stupid thing that was really annoying that he did was at the very, very end of the game, and I actually think it was Alfredo Morelos who was going through, and he just got blatantly fouled right in front of the ref, and he didn't do anything about it, and that led to an Aberdeen attack that, of course, Robbie McCrory sniffed out, but I've no idea what Beaton was thinking about or what he thought he saw there. But anyway, imagine the game actually is meaningful and does mean something. That's heart attack central right there, isn't it? Anyway, other than that, I thought he did okay. Not great, just okay, so he's going to get a 7 out of 10 for that one. What does that mean? Well, as you know by now, that mob did close things out with 4 games remaining. So that's that. No more needs to be said about this domestic season in terms of our pursuit of the championship. One game this week, and it's league business for, what is it, the 6th and final time that we play this mob. Obviously, the 2 games in each of the cups as well, and we play them on Saturday the 13th of May at 7:30am Eastern Standard Time. That's 12:30 in the UK. I don't need to tell you what happened in the last one. They beat us in the last one, so we should hopefully give them a do. Michael Beale needs to get a result against Celtic. Yes, the games are closer, yes, they're a bit more tense, but he has to move on, push on, and get over that hurdle and get a victory there, and hopefully that comes this weekend, and that gets that wee kind of bogey off his back, and then gives us something to kind of cheer about a wee bit. A victory against them at any time is always very, very welcome. For RTV, both Alan McWatt and myself had a great meeting with David Melvin from RTV. I think it was last Wednesday to kind of plan out what's next in terms of planning for next season 23-24. And what you can expect to see in the next week or so, and maybe this week if we can, but it's probably going to be next week, is a survey coming out to all clubs to establish your club preferences for next season. We have some clubs that will still want to take every game. We'll have some clubs that don't want to take midweek games, some who don't want to take the early games, some who don't want to take the games that are broadcast on other North American TV channels, and others who just don't want to take any RTV services at all. We already have a few of them in our midst. And the Constitution is our guiding light in terms of what flexibility we have on our TV subscription. And right now, I can tell you that there's actually not much flexibility in the Constitution at all. You are supposed to take all the games. Now, as I say, some clubs don't. We do have a change or two already submitted that I've put in to help add the flexibility for the constitutional criteria, and Sandra Hawthorne will be sending those out to each club shortly. These will be voted on at the AGM, of course, and we also we'll see how it goes from there. We'll explain a wee bit more in the accompanying email with the survey, but suffice to say, we're looking to try and provide as much flexibility as we possibly can for our member clubs and change our overall state of being and our philosophy of why narsa exists, because it used to be all about the TV, and now it doesn't have to be like that, assuming that these constitutional changes are put in. I'm not campaigning for them, to be honest. I'm just telling you what the overall intent is. If they don't get voted in, then we'll deal with the aftermath of that as well. No problem at all. We also did hear of a bit of an issue for the on-demand feature where Derek down in Orange County was trying to access the game after it had been completed, but it wasn't showing up. He was getting the countdown, and then the countdown wasn't actually taking him to the match coverage. So that ended up highlighting. We engaged with David from RTV, who was actually off yesterday, but he was helping us out anyway. And there's obviously some sort of technical or process challenge that's in play here that is the reason it didn't boot up as it normally does for some reason. So it got sorted finally, and David will do some investigation as to why that happened. So hopefully that's just a very rare occurrence and something kind of wacky happened, but we don't need any challenges on the RTV side leading up to the final match, the final Old Firm match, I should say, of the season. For shout-outs for this week, the one main thing for this week, the biggest, most happening thing of this week is my beautiful baby boy Leo's 14th birthday. This Wednesday, the 10th of May, 14. He's going to take, at some point this week, maybe Thursday, his learner driver's test as well. So this time next week, I could be saying, he's already crashed my car. I have no idea. 14 and they get to drive. It's incredible how they do that over here. But yeah, he's my main man. He's my whole reason for living, and I love him very, very much. So happy birthday, big guy. When it comes, I love you, and we will have some fun this week, of course, as well. And I did mean to do this shout out a wee while back. I got an email from NARSA convention regular Mags Cameron a while back, who had said, unfortunately, we've had to cancel a trip to Toronto for the NARSA convention as I have serious ongoing issues with my health, and held on as long as possible in case I was able to go. My partner John and I are totally gutted as it was his first time and my seventh. Wow, seven conventions, that's amazing. And then she went on to ask, is there anything that we could do regarding the tickets? She caveated that by saying probably not, but thought I would ask. So I'm going to explain the ticket situation in a wee bit here in the convention update, just in terms of what process you could follow to try and get rid of them. I already told Mags this a wee while back, but Mags, I'm very, very sorry you're not going to be able to join us this year, and I really hope that your health issues are sorted at some point soon, and we'll get a chance to see you next year in New York. So from all of us at NARSA, I hope you have a very, very speedy recovery, my friend. We also had a small matter of a royal coronation, where His and Her Majesties King Charles and Queen Camilla were coronated. And it looked amazing thus far. Quite honestly, I haven't had a chance to see much in terms of the ceremony and coverage and the kind of surrounding traditional factors, but by all accounts it went very well, and they are now formally our coronated king and queen, and that's kind of pretty special for everyone involved. I'll take a wee scout over to YouTube at some point this week and get a chance to see some of the highlights there. It was just the wrong timing for me to get up at like 3 a.m. to watch it all. I love them, but not that much, let's just say that. And not too far behind the significance of the coronation was the 70th birthday of the legend that is Sir Graham Souness, yes. And his birthday coincided with his announcement that he was leaving Sky Sports at the end of the season after a 15-year stint of sterling football punditry on there. I know when I used to get a chance to chat to my dad every day, he was always quoting Graham or Mr. Souness. At the time, just he loved him. You know, he absolutely did. And what an incredible man. My dad, of course, I'm talking about. But what an incredible man Graham Souness is, with an incredible pedigree. I did get a chance on behalf of NARSA to wish him a very happy birthday and also to congratulate him on his pending retirement, and he was very gracious and quick in his reply, thanking us very much as well. So happy birthday, Graham, and I hope you have many, many more. On to the convention. I can officially confirm it's 38 days, 38. What? And 5 weeks until Toronto Midtown host the biggest bash of the overseas Rangers year. Alright, so what I can confirm today for you right now is that the hotel is we're now considering the hotel sold out. So if you didn't heed any prior communications about it being close to sellout time, then I'm afraid you are out of luck and you'll need to either stay with someone else or stay somewhere else if you're planning to join us at the convention. There is still time for folks who have booked rooms, however, to be able to transfer those rooms to other people, and the high level process for that would be changing the name on the booking, of course, but then more importantly changing the credit card details on the booking, which would have been taken at the time of booking, and this can be done online when you get to that spot. I'd mentioned last week that I had a few folks contact me about some challenges that they had with the room bookings, more so not so much the core nights of the Thursday, Friday, Saturday, but either side of that. And I got up very, very, very early on Friday morning. I worked through all of my emails, all of my direct messages on Twitter and Facebook, and text messages and WhatsApp messages, and I think I caught everyone who reached out to me, and then I put them all in a lovely spreadsheet, sent it to the hotel, then met with the hotel a little bit later in the morning, and we worked through everything. So from this point forward, if you have a challenge with the hotel rooms and room availability, that'll be because we've released all of the rooms back to the hotel to limit our own financial liability for that as well. What we will do is I'll get at some point the information on how to transfer rooms packaged up and sent out to everybody, because I believe it is a wee bit of a process. They did email me and I just haven't opened it yet, just to confirm what that looks like. But everybody who contacted me, we have got everything sorted out for you. We've got everything that we needed to get sorted for you, and you should be in good shape now. If you haven't heard from the hotel already, I'll make sure that you do in the next wee while. The golf, football and brewery tour excursion are all still available for booking. You can find all the information you need for those on the NARSA convention webpage. And in terms of ticket sales, we do have now the 2-night ticket Thursday, Friday packages out there for sale. And those can, of course, again, be booked on the NARSA convention site. Just go to narsa.ca and it's the very first image that you'll see there. And then you can just click on that and get yourself organised there. Those tickets are $100 for both nights combined. $100 combined is what I mean. And for the 3-night packages, we have only 9 of the 3-night packages left, and after that we are sold out. Yeah, so 9 is all we have, and that was as of about midday today. Right now it's 5:17 p.m, so there might be another 1 or 2 sold. I don't know. And the reason that we're now sold out is that we've reduced our convention space, as in we've got a smaller room, not the big provincial ballroom that we had been targeting, but another smaller room. So we're now limited to just over a shade over 300 people this year. So it's going to be one of the smaller intimate conventions, which are always excellent for everyone involved. Not the grandiose size that we hoped for, but 300 people travelling to Toronto is a big number, folks, and we are not disappointed by any manner of means. We're delighted that people have taken their time and their energy and their money to come and spend it with us in 38 days. And what we're also going to do is we're going to set up a Blue Room bar. We've been in discussions with the hotel for a wee while now, and we've organised the facility to get a Blue Room bar for each afternoon, Thursday, Friday for sure, and maybe Saturday afternoon as well. Something like, maybe 1 to 5, 1 to 6, something like that. And the plan behind this is just to give people a chance to go where they know they're going to be among friends, to get a chance to grab a drink before they head out, to grab a drink after they come back, kind of ease themselves into the evening. And we might also, in fact, we will also get a wee bit of a schedule organised on that and get some entertainment in there, kind of in the calendarised sort of thing, to get maybe Cy Leslie, the MC for the convention. Sorry, not the MC, the DJ for the convention has said he'll do a wee bit in there, and then we'll maybe see where the VIPs are at, get them in as well. So stay tuned for more info on that as we move forward, but we're going to get that organised as well. I'm really looking forward to that part as well. And there was a couple of questions last week about the parking at the hotel, and right now there are 3 options at the hotel. They've got off-site parking, which is $26 Canadian daily, and then there's on-site parking and valet parking, and both of them are $60 per day. The host club were also researching parking options around the hotel vicinity, so we'll be in a position to share a bit more information about that as we get closer to the event. I believe some of the surface parking that's kind of close to the hotel is a wee bit cheaper. Certainly it's cheaper than the $60 for sure. Quite close to the hotel, and you can get a daily rate. You don't have to book it. I don't actually think you can book it, to be honest. So you don't need to know that with 38 days to go. You need to know that with kind of 8 days to go or something like that. So we'll get that information to you when we can. And let me just see. I think that's it. We have been reaching out. No, actually, one last thing. We have been reaching out to the club, as in Rangers Football Club, to see if there's any VIPs coming along. You'll remember, and I don't know. I think we just had Greg Marshall himself in Windsor, and then we only had Greg Marshall again in I guess Colin Stewart and Peter McCloy, kind of in their facility of working not directly for the club but in conjunction with the club. But not a lot of representation from the club over the last couple of conventions, and we have been pestering them just to say, look, what's happening. We did get positive early response from them to say this has been very well received. We'll get back to you by the requisite end date. I had asked them to get back to us by the end of I think it was the end of March, and we still haven't heard anything, but there's been so much turmoil at the club in terms of leadership changes and the like that I'd be surprised. I can't really see it happening that anyone will come over, but we'll see. And if no one comes over, that's a thing in and of itself, and I'd like to maybe try and get to the bottom of that as well. So we'll see. Never say never, but with 38 days to go, we don't have any confirmation of anything from the club, which is a little bit of a pest. On to our other business, just another plug for, we do have 2 of the positions open on the NARSA executive. That's the secretary and the treasurer. I did mention last week that, I would certainly entertain, combining those roles for the right candidate. But if you are interested in either of those roles, please by all means get in touch and we can have a conversation. I did have a conversation with someone in America last week about the potential for exploring the treasurer position, so it's good to see that we do have some interest, and we've got a follow-up conversation that I need to organise on that over the next wee while, just to see whether it's going to be a good fit or not. But yeah, come and join us if you think you can add value and help us out. On the comms front for this week, we've actually got a few. Sometimes it's very, very quiet, and other times it's kind of busy. And in the last 2 or 3 weeks, the theme has been significant changes within the leadership at Rangers Football Club. And last week we were informed of further changes when it was announced that Craig Mulholland was going to leave his role as Academy Director. And the statement said, Rangers can today confirm Academy Director Craig Mulholland has decided to leave the club at the end of the season. The 45-year-old has played a huge role in transforming the club's youth setup into a truly elite programme, which is now comparable with that of top European clubs. He joined the Light Blues in 2003, initially as football and the community manager, and held various roles before becoming head of the academy in 2015. In that time, the club have developed talents such as Nathan Patterson, Billy Gilmore, Robbie McCrory, Leon King and Alex Lowry. Oh, and Adam Devine, sorry, I looked away from my screen for a second there. I tell you, they make a point of saying he has decided to leave, and the article goes on to talk about, he's quoted saying sometimes you just need to pick the right time to leave and things like that. So it doesn't look like he's moving out, but boy, the leadership are not hanging around, are they? I like the fact that they're getting the business concluded early, not in terms of summer signings yet, but in terms of the leadership at the club, so that we can move into the summer months and steady the ship as quickly as possible and hopefully build a winning team for next year. I think it's interesting when you're talking about someone on the management side and they mention his age. It just seems kind of odd to me. For a player, I get that, or even a coach, of course, or people in the coaching staff. Because you've got a bit of a gauge. How old are they? How tenured are they? How experienced are they? That sort of thing. But for someone on the actual admin side, I thought it was kind of odd that they would mention his age. But yeah, good for him. He's 45, and his next birthday he'll be 46, and that's nice. So anyway, speaking of the business, as he promised in his original announcement, the original announcement that came out announcing him as CEO, our incumbent CEO, James Bisgrove, announced his inaugural quarterly fan forum, which is going to take place on Wednesday, the 21st of June, from 5:30 to 7 p.m. And the announcement for that one said, James Bisgrove will be joined by other members of the club's senior management, and will provide updates on different aspects of the club, and will take questions from supporters on a range of issues. The CEO's forum will provide an opportunity for supporters to engage with the key decision makers at Rangers and enable two-way dialogue on issues of interest. These events will be open to season ticket holders, MyJers members, and there will also be a direct communication to all Rangers supporters clubs. Season ticket holders and MyJers members will be emailed a registration link. Please note your registration link via the link enters you into the ballot, and as you'd expect, being in the ballot does not guarantee you a ticket. Those who successfully secure a ticket for the event will be emailed directly. The Edmiston House bar will be open for the event, and hot snacks will be available. So it's in Edmiston House. It's great to see the club using Edmiston House as much as they possibly can. So James isn't messing about and getting going with his mandate, is he? I did message him and ask him if there were options for remote or overseas fans to attend, but I haven't heard back from him yet. But I'll get the pleasure of asking him about that this week, as I do have a quick catch up with James organised for Thursday morning. my time. No set agenda on that. It's just a bit of a catch up, and I'll get an opportunity to see what his plans are for further strengthening the relationship between the club and Narsa. He's been very, very keen to do that from the beginning, and he's also been very, very responsive over his years at the club. So I do have high hopes that we can start to kind of re-establish a presence from Rangers at the conventions, and an understanding of what they need from us, and what we could do, what we need from them again as well. So we'll see. I'll do a wee bit of a debrief on that on next week's pod, but I'm really looking forward to the catch up as well. Finally, on the comms front, the club did confirm a formal partnership with none other than my best pal, Gordon Ramsay himself. If you're coming to the convention and you get an opportunity, ask me about my meeting with Gordon Ramsay. Not one of my shining moments, I have to say, but kind of funny story. And it says that Rangers Football Club and Gordon Ramsay Restaurants are delighted to announce an exciting new partnership at the iconic Ibrox Stadium. The collaboration is Gordon Ramsay Restaurants' first in sports, and will include the opening of a new hospitality lounge, Menu by Gordon Ramsay, at Ibrox. The newly opened Blue Sky Lounge at a restaurant at Ibrox, which has become a firm favourite with supporters, is also set to transform its menu, welcoming a range of Gordon Ramsay's signature dishes. Gordon's affection for Rangers stems from his childhood playing days, when he famously appeared in Rangers youth teams and dreamed of forging a career at the club. However, injury cut that particular dream short, and Gordon has gone on to become one of the world's most famous chefs. Gordon himself said, "From a very young age, I dreamt about having my name up in lights at Ibrox. Whilst my football career may have ended prematurely, I'm proud and delighted to have partnered with the Rangers team to develop an exclusive menu for the iconic stadium. Menu by Gordon Ramsay features a stunning menu of seasonal produce and standout dishes, all personally chosen by myself to offer a world-class dining experience at the home of Scottish football." The article then goes on to explain how it's going to be rolled out over the next wee while, so it's certainly in the earlier stages. Nothing is absolutely definitive yet, but in the article as well, James, I believe it's James Bisgrove, also talks about, the Blue Sky Lounge, New Edmiston House, and the various other things that are happening in terms of the facilities that the regime has built over the last a number of years, and it's actually really, really exciting times, and an opportunity to really get much needed revenue, of course, but to give people a genuine experience to be at Ibrox both on match days and not as well. So it's great to go global once again with the most famous chef in the world. So congratulations to everybody on getting that deal done. It's always good to see, and that resonates with the folks that don't know much about football as well. Okie dokie, folks, that's going to do it for this week. As always, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to listen, and please do share this with whomever you think might enjoy it, and try and get the numbers out there a wee bit better. Until next week, let's just beat them one time, for flip's sake, Rangers, come on. Until next week, folks, take care of yourself, okay? All the very best. Cheerio.